Long. It's long. Okay. Now, Kuf, Pei, Aleph, Hilchas Tayin, V'niton, Ve'edus. We finish that off, and then we start the halachas of Gneva Gzela. Okay, so Sif Yud Dalet. Anything that a person can benefit from, or he's partial, even if it's a very distant partiality, I don't know whatever the word would be, then he is puzzled to say edus. All right, so a person has to be really intellectually honest to know whether he has a negias or not. And he didn't do good amongst his nation. That's somebody who he comes by harsha. Harsha means that harsha is when you have permission to represent somebody. Umisaber al riv loy loy, and then he becomes involved with a fight that doesn't belong to him. Meaning, don't go representing people in the going
I'm losing you a
if the
little bit.
loiva, the borrower, is very strong for and the malva is scared him somebody else permission.
Microwave? You think a microwave is knocking the Wi-Fi?
That's what a tech guy told me. Okay, I don't know where we left off. Tesvav?
It wasn't pause. I think you have to start from the beginning, no?
No,
No, totally.
I think you should just start from the beginning of the second one.
What, Tesvav?
yeah,
It went on
Tesla.
for a minute or so.
You was on for like a minute, then you glitched out.
I chopped the second I went off. That wasn't. Okay. Let's start Tesvav again. Ksiv asher lo toiv asa b'soich amav. A person didn't do good in his nation. V'dashin and ze'abah harsha. Somebody who comes with permission, who is abar al riv loy loy, and who decides to get involved with a fight that's not his. So that's an asur. V'davka, meaning let somebody who's in the fight, let him fight. V'davka shnei balidinin hema be'ir. But that's only when the balidinim are in the city. Elakagoyin shaloiv who alam ubal tainus, and the lender, the borrower, I'm sorry, is a rough guy, and he's one of these guys who's always tiny. When Malvez just doesn't want to deal with him, so he's scared to deal with him. And he allows somebody else to do it. That's where you're over on the isser of getting involved in a fight that's not his. But if the nitva is in a different city, and the guy with the complaints can't be matriach himself to travel there, and he gets somebody else to do it. It actually is not only is he not doing something wrong, he's actually doing a mitzvah to save somebody who's being cheated from the person who's cheating him. So that's basically if you have a bezdin in another city and they call you to come and it's difficult for you to come, so you can hire somebody else. Somebody who comes with a power of attorney in order to benefit from the schar loy b'shvil alamos, not because he wants to try and win the case, meaning he wants to overpower the case, mutter, then it is mutter. Fine. A person should distance himself even from making a shvuah when it's true as much as he can. Why? Because when you swear, you're using Hashem's name, etc., and you're taking it's a high risk situation. You don't know. Maybe you're misunderstanding the whole situation. Let's say a guy knows that he's forced to make a shvuah. Let's say it was an eid echad, so then the guy has to swear, and he sees this guy's getting ready to swear as a liar. This is a wild din, right? So then yispasher imoy, he should make a compromise, kifi avshari, as much as he can. Do not allow the guy to lie. Shenemar shvuas Hashem tiyeh bein shneim, because the pasuk says there's a shvuah between the two of them. We learn out from this that the shvuah is chal on both, meaning if one if one of the Balei Din ends up lying as a sheker, the other Baal Din also is going to take some of the heat for it.
Or only when he was sick.
Right?
Gonna make him sicker.
So, meaning, so basically, this guy has to take a loss because he knows he could win the case. He could force this guy to make a shvuah, and he knows this guy's going to lie. He still has to take a loss. Right?
Okay.
Meaning, you see that how much, because you're considered at fault if somebody else ends up lying.
Does he say anything there?
Fine. Yudches, Kozman she'adam zocher yachal lahayid la'olam. Whatever person remembers, right? You can say this. Meaning, is there ever a length of time where you can no longer testify? So, and you don't have to be concerned that maybe it got old. Harbe, it got very old. He's not going to remember clearly. And even if he only remembers it because he wrote it down, the police officers also always write down their case. They don't remember anything, right? Because when they hand him over what he wrote into his in his pinkus, in his notebook, as to remember, and then he forgets it, and he only remembers when he reads it, that is enough to say edus. But that's only when he reads it, he taka remembers. And same thing if somebody has to remind him, he could say edus. Even if the one who reminded him was his co-aid, was his co-witness. He tells him, you don't remember, or whatever. He says, oh, yeah. So then he could do it. But if the one that he's testifying on their behalf says to him, you don't remember, blah, 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 that's no good. If Niskar, that makes him remember lawyer, then he cannot say edus. But what the Baldin could do is the Baldin could go to somebody else, to a third party, and tell him, tell this witness to remember because that's considered remembering through somebody else and not the Baldin, which is interesting because what is he hiring a third party? So we're playing games here, right? So the pshat is that your the pshat is that we're afraid that he's going to embellish it. If the Baldin himself reminds him, then he's going to embellish it. So therefore, you get a third party to say it, then he's just going to say what he was told to say, and that's it. You test. Achu karav le'echad mibali adinin. I'm sorry, aid who karav le'echad mibali adinin. Let's say an aid who's karav to one of the bali adinim, ay le'echad medayanim, or to one of the dayanim, aisha aidim krayim zelazeh, or the aidim are krayim to each other. Afilu kurva yidenish sesayim. And even if it's through marriage, through their wives, if amim psulim lahayat, sometimes they are going to be pasal le'edus, meaning, depending on how close a relative, first cousin, second cousin once removed, third cousins, all that stuff. Even if they're only related to the guarantor, for Laila, you're not even related to the Laiva. It is possible to say Edus for the Laiva. And this that the Torah passed Edus of relatives, not because there's a chazaka that they love each other. They're puzzle Edus whether they're going to support or go against. Exeris Akosovu, it's Exeris Akosov. Fafilu Moshe va'Aaron loheyu ksherim loheyu zelzeh. Even Moshe Aaron, tzaddikim, are not kosher to say edus on each other. L'chein kol eid shu eiz a korav la'achar min haniskarim. Any aid who is a korav to one any of those that we mentioned, oishay a korav and nisrachik, or even if he's a korav and then they became distant, meaning somebody died or somebody got divorced, v'dayanim einam yoidim, and the dayanim don't know tzarich lo'idiyai. You need to let the dayanim know. V'gam yagidu lo al pi Torah, and v'hem yagidu lo al pi Torah, and they're going to say it to him al pi Torah, right? Meaning they're going to say, like, halachically, you're not allowed to do this. Yesh bekur bazuk, I mean, they're going to say al pi Torah, is this considered too much or not? Chav, Shnei Eidim, Shechad Yidei B'Chaver Shu Rasha. Two Eidim. One of them knows when his friend that he's a Rasha, Pasal Eidus Min HaTorah. He knows he's Pasal Eidus Min HaTorah. Ve'ena Dayanim Akirim B'Rishai. But the Dayanim have no they don't have no recognition that this guy is Pasal. Asalei Lahayadima, he cannot say Eidus on him. Afal Pishu Eidus Emes, even though it's true Eidus, Shenemar Al Toshas Yotcha Im Rasha Liyos Eid Chamas. Do not put your hand with a Rasha to be an Eid Chamas. Exeres a Kosovi, it's Exeres a Kosovi, Shekol Eidus Batela, that the entire Eidus is Batul Afilu Hem Rabim, even if it's a big Eidus, Im Echad B'nei Apostle, meaning let's say you have 100 Eidim, one of them is a relative, knocks out the whole Eidus. Bezu Rasha Shapasal Eidus Min HaTorah, and who is a Rasha who's Pasal Eidus? Kol Shavar Al Davar Shapasha Yisrael Sheyavera. It's a very interesting lashon. It's saying it doesn't have to be an Avera that's just straight in the Torah. It's saying any Avera that Klal Yisrael looks at it like it's an Avera. Fu Davar Shabaloi Sasim Min HaTorah. And it's a license in a Torah v'avar b'zadin v'lo yasa tshuva, and if somebody's over on it doesn't do tshuva, meaning he did averas in the Torah and he didn't do tshuva. But if you could think that maybe the guy did it by mistake, or by mistake, shelo yada, so he didn't even know the issus, then lo nifsal le'edus, then he is not pasal le'edus. That's why if somebody's ever ate ksuba or ate kedushin, so sometimes Masada kedushin say, you're kasha leida, so did you do tshuva? Yeah, fine. Simin kuf pei beis hilchos kenevo gzelo by tes zayin seifim. So that we start with one. Aser ligzal or lignov. This may come as news to many. You're not allowed to steal or to do Geneva, right? One of them, it means that he steals at night because he's afraid of people and Hashem, and one is what he does it during the day. He's not even he's only afraid, he's not afraid of people. So afilu kolshu, even a mashu, bein misrael, bein mein nachri. It doesn't make a difference whether you steal from a yid, whether you steal from a guy. Isa batana del, yo, maisa be'echad shesipa loy, she'asa avla legoy b'medidas atmarim shemachaloi. He said somebody, Tanad says a guy told me that he did a avla to a guy in measuring the dates that he sold to him. And then with this stolen money, he went and he went and bought oil. Finishbar apach, and then the jug broke. Finishbach Hashem, and the oil spilled. Famarti, and I said to him, Baruch Hamokim she'en lefonav masay ponim. Praised is the Makkah, meaning Hashem, that there's no such, there's no partiality, meaning he made it, Hashem made it that he got what's coming to him. Because the pasuk says, "Lo sashek esriyacha," do not rip off your friend. V'lo sigzol, and don't steal. V'gezel hagoy gezel, and stealing from a guy is considered stealing, right? Because the pasuk doesn't say anything about a yid or a guy. It says lo sigzol. And meaning, so stealing from goyim is absolutely not allowed. Now you have sometimes that something, if the guy makes a mistake, he may not be mechuyev to fix the mistake, etc., etc. That's a whole different sugya. Okay, we will stop over there. Everybody should have a fine night and a good Shabbos and Besuras Tovos.